Hello and welcome to the Meet the Eatmons Endangered Species podcast, where we inspire, uplift, and spotlight people that are doing something special in the world. And we're very excited to be here today. We are your hosts, Curtis and Spring Eatman, and I'm so excited about this topic today. What are we talking about?
This is an interesting one. Can money change you?
Ooh, que de dinero, dinero, dinero.
Can money change you, especially when it comes to your relationship? We got lessons from some Mr. Jeff Bezos himself.
Mr. Amazon.
Yes, right. So I mean, we're gonna be diving deep into this conversation because some of the world's wealthiest individuals, they may, get married, have a divorce, get married again, and things may change in their lives, right? So we're going to kind of learn some lessons from Jeff Bezos on, did his immense fortune change him?
And that happens to everybody. It's not just only the ultra wealthy. This is a topic that's very pertinent to even the regular everyday person. We see people all the time who start in a relationship together and then they were maybe didn't have a lot. And then once they start to make money and start to get to a certain place of affluence in their life, does it change you, right? So that's the question.
Very well put. So let's kind of go to a quick video. Okay. Was that real?
God bless me.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's go to this video really quickly. All right? I'm interested about what's going on.
This is the woman who quietly walked away from the richest man on earth. Mackenzie Scott helped build Amazon from a garage. She was its first accountant, first writer, and first believer. After 25 years of marriage, she divorced Jeff Bezos and received $38 billion in Amazon stock. But instead of buying yachts or islands, she started giving it all away. In just 3 years, Mackenzie donated over $14 billion to charities, more than any billionaire alive. She doesn't give interviews. She doesn't do red carpets. Just surprise wire transfers to struggling schools, women's shelters, and nonprofits. No fame, no spotlight, just impact. Some call her the most powerful philanthropist in history. So see, was this the greatest billionaire rebrand of all time?
Wow.
Wow.
So just impact. That was 14 billion?
Yes, 14 billion. She gave away nearly half of her wealth.
Yeah.
Because she only got 38 billion.
Only.
That's all. That's it. That's all. Just a measly 38 billion.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she gave away half of it. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how she'll survive.
Clearly.
Giving away $14 billion. Like, wow.
Said of all time, the biggest philanthropist of all time.
Yeah.
No one's ever gave as much money.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's wild. So like love after loss, so let's go into some different things then. So for someone that's in a second marriage, right?
Well, first let's talk about this. I think that she and his new wife are very, very different.
By far.
Yes.
Clearly.
So Mackenzie is a very plain woman. You hardly see her with makeup on. You hardly see her in the spotlight. She's a very low-key, very presumably quiet woman. I mean, I'm sure commands, attention in person and, she's probably a very outspoken person in person. But to the media and to the world, she's a very quiet person and very, very, not personal. What is it when they're to themselves?
Introvert?
No, not, well, yes, but private, very private.
Yeah.
Very private. Makes sense. Yes. However, Lauren, on the other hand, is completely different, right?
Yeah.
She is this big bombshell beauty, TV personality.
Yeah.
That's who she was before she met him.
Yeah.
She was somebody who was already in the, world with celebrities and fame and all of those things. And so it's very interesting that after, he went from two very ends of the spectrum.
He did.
Yeah.
Very much so.
So it calls the question, was he a lot more like Mackenzie when he first got married to her? Or was he always a more outspoken, bigger personality that was kind of shoved into this life that he didn't necessarily want, but it's all he felt like he could have at that moment?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Well, I mean, if you watch even videos back in 1998 when he was building Amazon with Mackenzie and things like that, Mackenzie was never shown.
Yeah.
It was always him, right? and then the transition to how he acts now,
It's very
and
different.
it's a completely different transformation of a person. So when we ask the question, can money change you? We're not saying that it could even be for the bad. He's just completely changed.
Different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you can see that he has new experiences, new life, and he says, you know what, this is the new me.
Yes.
You know, so new me, new queen. You know, that's kind of how it worked, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's really important to talk about that too, because
His palate changed, right?
yeah, but a lot of couples, even if it has nothing to do with money, a lot of people, like especially if they get together when they're younger, grow apart.
That's a big
That
one.
could be a big issue in relationships, that they just grow apart. You know, you hear that all the time, like, we just woke up and we weren't in love anymore after 30 years of marriage. Like, we
Yeah.
just grew apart. We just want
25
different
years they
things.
were married.
Yeah, they were married for 25 years. They had a whole entire life. Like a whole life.
Yes.
But who he was when he married her is not who he is today.
Not at all.
But I think she might still be the same person that she was
Core.
when he
Yeah.
married her. And so that's something to keep in mind, is like, it is very, very important to grow together purposefully.
That's
like
it.
on purpose.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to just drift into different directions. And so it's very important to keep an eye on that and be mindful about the directions that you're growing in. Are you including yourself in the things that they like, and, you know, that kind of thing? You know, clearly he started to like the celebrity life, the spotlight.
Which is
That's
fine.
not something that she necessarily seems to enjoy.
Yeah. She doesn't take any interviews.
Yeah, she takes none. So, I mean, it's just an interesting
Dynamic.
situation.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure when they were like in the garage, they, in their wildest dreams, couldn't imagine that they would be like some of the wealthiest people in the entire world today. But, I mean, I'm sure that was a goal or an aspiration, but I don't know if you really ever start something and have an expectation that that's going to actually come to fruition, right?
I think that comes to also the thought is, even when he was in the garage building with her during that season of his life, those things that he has now was maybe just hidden.
Yeah.
And now he has a platform to express it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, so interesting.
And I always think that that's so interesting, because this happens a lot. This happens a lot,
All the
actually.
time, actually.
That there's one woman that is there in the trenches, that sees the potential, that helps them grow, you know, pours all of her life into, you know, helping them build something. And then once they make it, it's like, you're actually not good enough for this level of me, or this version of me. And so
I'm not
it's
saying
like,
this situation though, right?
no, I'm not saying
Yeah.
it necessarily. I don't know if that's their situation, but
She divorced
I'm
him.
saying this happens a lot
Yeah.
in relationships, right?
But she divorced him.
Yes, but we don't know why. We don't know if he was treating her like, you're not good enough. Like, we don't know their situation. Let's just leave it at that. But I'm saying this does happen a lot, where you see couples who they become, you know, you're great to help me build this,
Yeah.
but then when I get to a certain place, I want a different look. I want a different this or that. So I don't know. How do you navigate something like that?
How do you navigate it?
I mean, I'm just saying, if it happens in relationships sometimes, that you start to grow and want different things than you wanted when you originally started the relationship, like, how do you navigate that?
Yeah, I don't know if there is a navigation. There's a blueprint for that, per se. Like, you ultimately have to, you know, stay consistent in your communication and your intimacy. And we
Yeah.
just talked about that in a previous podcast, the 8 different points of intimacy.
Yeah.
And checking in with each other and saying, are we growing apart? And clearly they were growing apart over 25 years, or they wouldn't be at this standpoint where they're both now remarried.
Yeah.
You know, and the money obviously wasn't the issue. It was their relationship, you know, that
You
was
know
the
what
issue.
they say, though? More money, more problems.
We've heard
They
that.
might got all the problems, all the money they got. No.
Yeah.
All right, let's get
That's why she
into-
gave it half the way, right? It's good facts. Well, let's go to the next one, because, you know, they both have different lives now.
Yes.
Right? And now let's look at what just happened as recently. It's pretty popular. Let's watch this one.
This is how the Jeff Bezos wedding generated $1 billion for the city of Venice. No one throws a wedding like Jeff Bezos. But here's the part that broke the internet. Italy's tourism ministry says the wedding generated over $1.1 billion in media value. Still, not everyone was cheering for them. Locals protested the disruption, calling it a billionaire's city grab. This wasn't just a wedding. Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez celebrated their wedding across San Giorgio Maggiore and the Venetian Arsenal. with a guest list that read like a Forbes cover. We're talking Oprah, the Kardashians, Bill Gates, Leo, Tom Brady, and literal royalty. Lauren wore not one, but 3 designer gowns, Hermes bags, Jimmy Choos, and earrings which were worth more than most homes. Jeff Bezos kept it sleek in Dolce tuxedos and Louis Vuitton shades, while her engagement ring, it was a 30-carat pink diamond backed by a $6 million wedding band. Only Jeff Bezos could make marriage feel like a business summit.
Baby, that ring was ringing, baby. Oh
Yeah,
my
it was
God.
definitely ringing.
I had never seen wow.
That's crazy.
Wow, I guess if you a billionaire, you got to do it.
If
You
you're-
got to do it. She is walking around with a small country on her finger. Good for you, Lauren Sanchez. Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
That was crazy. Yeah, they had a crazy guest list. They had obviously the Kardashians and the Jenners, and Orlando Bloom was there, and he's,
Right.
like you said, Tom Brady. Even some of the Trumps were there. Ivanka was there.
Everybody was there.
Yeah, I mean Oprah, Gail, Tommy Hilfiger, Usher was there. Like you name it, everybody was at this
But
wedding.
what if you were, an A-lister per se, and you didn't get invited to this?
Then I guess you want to be lit. No.
What a FOMO.
I mean, if you
right?
don't know
Like,
them
what-
personally, then it doesn't matter if you're an
What
A-lister.
FOMO.
But
They're like, God, that's kind of crazy.
yeah, that'd be crazy though. That was definitely a who's who of weddings.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you want to talk about on that aspect? Or you want to talk about the power of remarriage?
Mm-hmm.
Because now obviously he's in the position where this is his new, right? He's locked in, right? Different
Yeah.
life, different a whole viewpoint.
Different wife.
Different life, different wife. That's a fact. So like now that they're blending new lifestyles together, now we're seeing a new example of him. What do you think about that in regards to where that's going to be, in regards to relationship?
Yeah, I think a lot of people wonder, when it comes to your like a second marriage, are you just repeating old patterns
Yeah.
with a new spouse? Somebody with a new face, right? Or are you in a situation where, you've actually become wiser, you've healed, you've grown
Yeah,
from
that's
your
important.
previous marriage, and now you're in a position where you have more clarity and understand, where you were wrong also in the last marriage, as well as your old spouse, and how you can carry that into your next relationship to be better. So I think it's just the mindset of how you go into your next marriage to know if that's going to be a successful marriage or not. If you're the same old, and you think the other person was the only problem in your other marriage,
that's a problem there.
and you're not looking to make any changes, just a new spouse, you might find yourself in very similar situations. But I think it's very important to take your fresh start and allow it to be a fresh start. So they look very happy. Happy for them. And hopefully they are taking their experiences from their past and allowing themselves to be better in this next version of their relationship. So,
Yeah, I like it. So go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was going to say, when it comes to marriage and ambition, though, right? Can two powerhouses really truly thrive in love?
Yeah, I think absolutely. And I think they're probably a good example of that. I mean, their marriage is like brand new, like infant, like it was like a not even a week old marriage.
Yeah, well
I don't
beyond
know.
the years, right?
But I feel like they're a good example because they're both very powerful in their own right. Lauren Sanchez obviously is no Jeff Bezos, but she had her own career. She was in the spotlight. She was doing her thing. And she's notable. A lot of these celebrities probably came from her. I believe that she has a lot of relationships with
makes
a lot of
sense.
different celebrities.
That
I
makes
mean,
sense.
obviously, he's Jeff Bezos today. He has his own connections in the celebrity world as well. But I think they both do their own thing. And they're both able to be powerful people. I think there's a lot of examples of that, of couples, powerful people. Like, you look at the Obamas, right? You got Michelle Obama, you got Barack Obama. She was a powerful woman, attorney, all the things. Same for him. Like, they were doing their thing. And so I think it can. I think it can, definitely. But you have to be the type of person that wants to not just build up your empire, but build up your spouse and build up their ambition and build up what they want to be and what they want to do in their life as well.
I agree. Cool. I like it. You know, so for most people, when it comes to this conversation, it's like, was this transactional or was it transformational?
Mm.
You know, because a lot of people are looking at it like, okay, you might swapped out socks, but you still have the same foot.
Oop.
Yeah,
Okay.
obviously it's a better sock, but as it comes down to, okay, what is the real question then, and what is the modern marriage really built on today?
Mm-hmm.
Because for them, they're not worried about money. They're not
Yeah.
worried about necessarily relationships per se, and how many of those are authentic. Obviously, they got to vet that out,
Yeah.
But how many, like, what is the really modern relationship built on today? Like, what can you really say is authentic and genuine beyond the house that she has? I can't call that a house. You said a small country that she has on her hand, and
Yeah.
the multiple dresses she wore, and that's a beautiful thing that you be able to experience it. And I think that's dope, right? But beyond that, like, what is it? After all that stuff after the makeup's off, after everything else, like, what is that going to be built on?
Yeah. And it has to be built on love, on trust, on communication. It doesn't matter if you have $1 in your bank account or if you're like Bezos and you have billions of dollars.
Yeah.
The relationship has to be rooted in the same type of values. And you have to
agree.
make sure that you give it the same attention and the same care and the same all the things. The rules still apply in every case. And so it's very important that they're not just focused on the glitz and the glam. And I really hope that Lauren is not just attached to his money and his fame, and that she's also attached to, the values and the principles, which I don't know her personally, so I can't say, but, I think that she does obviously love the spotlight. That's why she did what she did for a living. But I think it's really important for them to be invested. And I hope that he is also not just attached to the beauty that she has and the spotlight that she brings and all of that, the celebrity power that comes with her, that he's also attached to the person of her. And again, I don't know them. I don't know their relationship, but I think that it's very important that that anyone is very mindful about the things that are important, which is the foundation. And I think sometimes not just in their situation, but even in every day-to-day relationships, there's a lot of people who get attached to what they look like, the job they have, the car that they drive, the neighborhood they live in, the friends that they have, the access they can, get into certain things. They have celebrity friends or whatever the case. And you cannot just be attracted to those things. You have to be attracted to the person, because all of those things will be gone at one day, and so what is it that is going to keep you together?
That's so big, because most people are thinking about like a merger, right? So Jeff Bezos, he buys a lot of companies, so merger acquisition versus, is this meaningful? Is this magnetic, right? Is this going to multiply, right?
Yeah.
And I think if you have that perspective, that viewpoint, no matter if you were married or wherever you go next in life, you'll be just fine.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, this was an interesting one, was it? All right. I just, I know you want to keep rewinding that video. You can keep looking at that ring.
Oh my gosh, that ring was sick.
And her mind's going. I'm like, oh, I gotta make more money. I gotta
We
make more
gotta
money.
be a billionaire.
Yeah.
You want to be a billionaire. Changing the song.
That's it, right? Facts. Well, close this up. Closing remarks.
Yes, well, I think that this was a great topic. It's super important to understand, the values and principles that you have, because that'll keep you from drifting apart in your marriage, regardless of the status or regardless of, the heights or whatever the accolades that you might receive later on in life. Which is what I think might have happened in Jeff and Mackenzie's marriage.
Right.
If you are rooted in those values, then those values will carry you into every version of yourselves and each other. And then just making sure that if you do end up, in your second relationship, make sure that you're checking in on what you didn't do well in the past, that you can recreate yourself and become another version of yourself for this next relationship, and carry it into, a happily ever after, hopefully. So, I mean, we wish you luck, Jeff and Lauren. We hope that things go well in your future and you guys do a lot of good in the world. But yeah, so as as we're wrapping up today,
Okay.
you know, with Jeff being such an amazing inspiration in the business world, and, you know, obviously he's made so much money and done so many things for the world. In the world that's constantly changing today, you know, strong family values and strong principles are very important for us to have in our lives. And so, you know, it's very important for us as leaders, if there's anything that's inside you, that is endangered.
Okay.
You know, things that leadership principles, qualities of, you know, family, faith, you know, vision, all of these different things. If these are things that are inside of you, we want you to pull that stuff out for the world to be able to see and thrive on, because it's not just important that you survive, but it's vital. So we are so excited that you were here with us today. We hope that you enjoyed today's show, and we will see you guys next time.